Ever imagine, like, chilling at a cafe with your latte and your dog's just there, totally zen, just watching everything?
Oh, yeah,
That's the dream, right?
definitely.
And that's kind of what we're talking about today. We're diving into puppy socialization and dog training, but with a twist.
Okay.
We've got these articles from Onlinehund.dk. It's a Danish dog training site,
Interesting.
and they have some unique stuff, especially about socialization, and I'm really curious to get your take on it.
I'm ready. What jumped out at you?
So you know that whole thing, get a puppy, socialize, socialize, socialize.
Right, like a mantra.
Like the more dogs they meet, the better.
Exactly.
Well, Onlinehund.dk is like, hold on a minute. They're all about slowing it way down.
Really?
Yeah, building a strong foundation first before you go full-on puppy party.
That's interesting. That kind of goes against the grain a little bit. What's their thinking there?
So they have this analogy to how humans learn that I thought was really interesting. Like, we don't just toss kids into a crowded playground with no prep, right?
Yeah.
They need to know the rules, feel safe, trust the grown-ups around before they can deal with all that.
Yeah, there's social dynamics.
Right, and that's exactly their point. Dogs need that same foundation. They need to feel secure, know what's expected before we throw all this new stuff at them.
Makes sense.
So it's less about a packed social calendar for your pup and more about those basic commands.
Right.
The sit, stay, come, all of that.
The foundation.
Exactly. It builds their confidence and it builds communication,
Absolutely.
which is way more helpful when you're actually out in the world, right?
Yeah, for sure. Think about it like they give this example of taking your dog to a busy cafe.
Oh, yeah.
If your dog hasn't learned to like chill out when you
A
ask.
stressful latte for everyone.
Exactly.
And it's not just cafes. Even think about car rides. They use this example of taking your dog for a ride just to get ice cream.
Oh, I like that.
It's all about making it positive.
Yeah.
So the car itself isn't what stresses them out.
Smart.
It's all about setting them up for success one step at a time.
I like that approach.
And that goes for meeting new people, too.
Yeah.
They actually even suggest, instead of letting everyone pet your puppy,
Right.
you have people toss treats from a distance and gradually get closer as the dog's comfortable.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Because it's about teaching them new people equal good things,
Positive experiences.
not overwhelming experiences. And it really makes you think about how important those early interactions are.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it shapes their whole view of the world, you know?
Right. Right.
And speaking of shaping views, another thing that really struck me,
Yeah.
they have this whole section on how the owner's age can actually play a role in training.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I would love to get your thoughts on this because it's kind of a different angle.
Yeah, for sure. Because experience, right. It can be a good thing and a bad thing.
They did not hold back either.
No.
They literally said, resting on our laurels.
Fair enough.
But, they have a point. If you
Yeah.
haven't raised a puppy in like 20 years,
Right. Things have changed.
your life is totally different now. Your energy is probably different.
Yeah.
Even just how much you know about dog training has probably changed. What worked back then might be totally outdated now.
You're preaching to the choir here.
And we have to be open to new ways of doing things, right?
100%. You got to evolve.
Like maybe you used to be super strict with leash training,
Yeah.
and now you're a little softer.
Happens to the best of us.
But that's confusing for a dog.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or maybe, and this is me, maybe you've gone the other way.
What do you mean?
Like, those puppy dog eyes work even better now than they used to.
Oh, I see.
And it's harder to be strict.
Yeah, you get soft.
Totally.
Yeah.
But Onlinehund.dk, they're all about that self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing how, I don't know, our baggage, our good and bad experiences,
Right.
they're all going to come out in how we train, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes we don't even realize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So being open to new ways of doing things, even if you've had dogs your whole life.
It's true. You can always learn something new.
And the best part is they actually offer solutions.
Oh, good.
They talk a lot about how important it is to get help, even for experienced owners.
I love that because sometimes we think we have to have it all figured out.
Right. And they have a whole thing on their site, online resources, tailored support, all of that.
Very cool. So people can actually like work with them directly.
Yeah. And this is where their RESOM method comes in. They talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to dig into that at all?
I did, yeah. It seems like it's really focused on that communication, that bond between dog and owner.
Okay.
Like one thing they emphasize is teaching the dog to make good choices, not just obey commands.
So it's more about like thinking for themselves.
In a way, yeah. It's about giving them the tools to be a partner in the training.
Interesting.
And they have all these specific techniques for teaching that way, all positive reinforcement.
See, that's the stuff I need. It's not enough to just tell me what to do.
You want the how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they seem to get that. So you've got the RESUM method, which is like the framework, and then you've got all these resources, online classes, coaching, so you're not just left hanging.
It's like having a whole support system.
Right. And even with experience, everyone has those moments where it's like, what do I do now?
Oh, all the time. Especially with a new puppy, there's always something.
Always. And I think that's what I like about their approach. It just feels very understanding
Yes,
and approachable.
that too.
Yeah.
Like there's no shame in asking for help no matter how long you've been doing this. And with dog training, there's so much information out there.
Oh my gosh, I know.
It's overwhelming.
It is. And it's like, who's right?
Right. Who do you listen to?
It's like they get it.
They really do. It's refreshing.
And it all comes back to that phrase they use, creating a polite family dog.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just such a great way to think about it, you know?
It is, because it's more than just like obedience.
Yeah.
It's about your dog being able to like be out in the world and have good manners.
Be a good member of society.
Exactly. And that looks different for everyone, right?
Totally. Like a polite family dog in the city,
Right.
that might mean they're cool on the subway.
Exactly.
But out in the country, maybe it's more about being off-leash on the trail and coming back when you call.
Exactly. So it's about figuring out what works for your life.
And that's where having those resources, like what Onlinehund.dk offers, is so helpful.
It makes it less overwhelming, you know?
Totally. So, okay, big takeaway time for those listening who might be feeling a little,
Intimidated.
yeah, whether it's puppy training or even just like, I've had dogs before, but I need a refresher.
Sure.
What do you think is the most important thing we learned from digging into Onlinehund.dk?
Honestly, I think it's that emphasis on building a good foundation. Communication, trust, that bond with your dog. And that takes time. You can't rush it.
Slow and steady wins the race.
100%. Don't get caught up in rushing socialization. Focus on that bond, those basic commands.
Teaching them to look to you.
Yes. And also, don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's so true.
Even if you've had dogs your whole life, it's okay to need a little guidance sometimes.
And there are resources out there, whether it's Onlinehund.dk or something else. You don't have to do this alone.
Having a dog should be fun.
Yes.
It shouldn't be this constant source of stress.
It's about enjoying that latte with your Zen dog.
Exactly.
I love it. A goal we can all get behind.
Cheers to that.